we're wealthy, and it is wealth by design. Okay, we don't want any generalised wealth here. We want to design this stuff.
We want to design it.
We
all
do.
right.
We
love
do.
to be back again. Quickly a week runs.
Mate, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Jeff Bowman by my side, mate. Always great to have you here.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
I know you're a bit sore in the throat today.
Yeah, it's going to be all about you and Ian today.
Oh, it's all about Ian, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I'm just here to press some buttons and make a little noise in the corner, so nothing unusual about that.
No. So we can bloody introduce Ian if that's okay.
Yeah, let's
get into it. Right?
Why not? Why mess around? Let's get straight into it.
I won't be hanging around too much tonight. I've got to get to the footy.
Oh, priorities. Look at this life, hey? Go the Mighty Dockers.
Yeah, so look, in the spirit of the whole Wealth by Design collective, as we call it, well, a bunch of business people that work together, all looking to build our wealth and deliver great service to clients. We're delighted to have Ian Lane from Ian Lane Business Coaching with us today.
Yes,
I've known Ian for quite a while, and Ian's a great connector, and we have a good collegiate spirit going with referring clients, and Ian's a good team player, and so well done, Ian. I'm glad you could make it today.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, no, sorry about the voice. I won't be talking too much, but
I feel great. Yeah, said I'm a part of the team, so I'm all right.
Oh, that's right.
I can go home now.
you're looking pretty relaxed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, look, apart from having the glorious, the Demi Moore impersonation you're doing over here, mate, it is nice. It's very husky. But we've got a lot of questions for Ian. Well, actually, you know what? Probably less. Probably let you do most of the talking here, mate, because you're a strategist, okay? You're a man who grabs business and by the collar and makes it happen. You want to give us an idea of, well, let's just talk about your business and what you do.
So my business is business coaching. And I think the first thing to think about it is why am I doing it? Why did I get into it? And I had a business, it's a great business, brilliant lifestyle business, windsurfing, kite surfing, all that kind of stuff.
Good gig.
Yeah, fantastic gig, $500,000 worth of toys in the store, people coming in going, this is great, you've got a great business, what a great life. But it's actually, I thought it was just that industry that didn't make money, but most people run a marginal business. Some days you got heaps of money.
Yep.
You go and buy a new car, you haven't got any money for months and months and months. Other days you got no money, you think, I'm not eating this week. So, that's a cycle. It felt like a community service.
Okay.
So, but it was a great community service, fantastic lifestyle, hanging out, having all the toys I wanted all the time. We used to take people on holidays to the Cocos Islands and Mauritius and stuff like that. So
I hate to see you struggle like that. I really do.
So it was a struggle.
I used to work at a business where my staff actually bought me a really cool mug, the old coffee mug. It said, "He who dies with the most toys wins."
Yeah.
So that kind of summed up my life a little bit of the time.
I know. You had a long period there with lots of toys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being a motor car man.
Yeah, absolutely. Love my cars. But you're doing the windsurfing and all those sort of goodies. So
Yeah.
I mean, so you're in the business. You're living a great lifestyle, but you're not really happy with the way that it's flowing, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a 7-day-a-week business.
Yeah.
And long hours because things start early in the day and finish late in the day. And I always felt as if I was the guy that had to do everything or it wouldn't get done or it wouldn't get done properly and had to be helicoptering over everything. And it got to a point, actually, I don't know, I was going to tell you a story, but I don't know if my wife will never see this, so I'll just.
Oh, okay. We can.
Right.
We don't normally edit things, but if it's to protect you from the wife, maybe we should.
Yeah.
No.
No. No, I better not tell that story. It was basically she worked in the business with me.
Yep.
But she got sick of it, and she had less patience than I did, and she said, we got to get out of this. And so, but we couldn't because we had $500,000 worth of stuff to pay for and not making a huge profit, and so we basically got a business coach in. Mm-hmm. And how that happened was we went to lots of seminars and stuff. And one guy, we saw a guy called Brad Sugars that owns Action Coach. He made the most sense. And he had this system, 5 ways to grow your business. And that just, I'd never seen it before. If you haven't seen it, just Google it. It's easy enough to find or ask me. When I saw that, I thought, that makes sense. So basically we got a coach in our business. We couldn't afford it.
Right.
But we got it.
Well, you probably couldn't afford not to, by the sounds of it.
Well, that's something that I often say to people. Right. I was looking at your numbers, and you can't afford to. You haven't got the money to pay for this, which is why you need to do it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that was actually the line the guy who was our coach used. We did it, and we were about 3 months into it, and I thought, this is rubbish. I'm out of here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just couldn't see the value. We weren't really progressing, so I said I'm out of here. And he said, well, we've got this meeting coming up with all our clients. Come along to that. Then after that day, if you want to leave, leave. So went along to this meeting, and it was all these business owners who had been doing it for a year or so. And there's people, yeah, we were turning over 200,000. Now it's 1 million, and making money. And I'm looking around the room thinking, well, they're not any different to me. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. So if they can do it, I can do it. So I took that system and specifically and applied it to my business. And we tripled our business in the space of 9 months.
Is that right?
Yeah. Tripled it. We were working 4 days a week. We used to have a safe from Bunnings. We'd bought and ground a slot in it for money.
Yep.
At the end of the day, the boys would cash up, put the cash in an envelope and stick it down in the slot that went into the safe.
Right.
And every now and again, I'd get a phone call. Hey, can you come in? The safe's jammed. And I'd go, and what they meant was they'd put so much cash in it that when I opened it, was like bursting out.
Ian, what a terrible problem to have. I feel
horrible.
for you. Yeah, unbelievable. It's okay. So you can genuinely see the value here. I mean, it's revolutionised your business. You've basically you've cut down your actual work time by about 40%, and you've actually tripled your profit, or certainly your turnover.
Tripled the revenue, more than tripled the profit.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you able to, obviously, your living now is teaching these business principles, but are you happy to expand on those 5 key Brad Sugar points? Because it's actually meat on the bone that people are wanting to get from these sessions, and they don't need to get all the secrets, because that's your job and you'll go and see people. But if there's 5 key relatable areas that you specialise in, are you happy to take us through those?
100%, yes, easily. So the first thing to know is business is a numbers game. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know anything. So I focus on that with everyone.
Okay.
It's not about how do you feel, I've got a brother-in-law, Daniel, if you ask me this question again, I'll kill you. Who every now and again when we meet, he says, how's the life coaching going? Which makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand up, my claws come out.
I can feel them from here, mate. I really can.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's just that word, anyway, back to it. So there's 5 areas that you've got to know, and it's a numbers game. So the 5 areas, the first one is leads. Actually, let me just think about it. There's an analogy that I use. There's 3 things you need to have in a business. One is you have to get more money in the door.
Okay.
Yep.
Second one is you need to keep more of that money.
Brilliant point.
Yep. And then once you get to keep more of it, you have to grow that money. This is where Jeff and I get together. I'm the get more money, spend more money guy. So
Back to that lifestyle thing again.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I got to know Jeff, because he's my future wealth man.
Yeah.
So that's what I help businesses with. So in the getting more money, and I find that like 5% of people say, no, we don't need to get more money. We've got plenty. We just haven't got time. And I say, great. So hire a general manager. If you've got $150,000, we'll get someone in. I don't have $150,000. Oh, so you need to get more money. So even if you don't think you need to get more money, you need to get more money. How much do you pay yourself? Oh, I just take money out of the business. No, you need $200,000 a year so you can do something with it. So those are my targets. So how do you do it? Get more money bucket. So to get the more money in, there's a wee bit of music to introduce it. Get more money in, there's 5 things. One is leads. You've got to have a lead flow. You've got to have lead generation.
Sure.
And some people, it's like, you want to fill a bath with leads, and either the bath, they're getting leads in, but they're falling out through holes in the bath, or the tap.
There's a hole in my bucket.
Yeah, there's a hole.
Good old dear Liza.
That's the one.
Absolutely.
So there's a hole in the bucket, or the tap is rusted shut. There's no leads coming in, or it's just a drip of leads coming in. So we've got to find out what's happening there. Are you getting leads in? Are you clear? And sometimes it's because people aren't sure what it is they're actually selling. They can't describe what their business is. And other times it's just their marketing is wrong. Sure. So lead generation. Then once you get leads, you have to convert them into clients. So you get leads that are marketing qualified or sales qualified. You've got to work out which they are and then approach them in the right way. So converting them to become a customer is the
Yep.
next step.
All right.
So now they're a customer and they're buying something from you. The next thing we've got to think about is how much, what's the average dollar sale? So in my windsurfing business, the conversion rate, what's your conversion rate? And I'm saying about 80%.
Okay.
And I think that's exactly what the guy was on coach said, oh yeah. And my wife said, nah, it's not 80%. She said it'd be like 70 maybe. And he said, well, let's measure it. So
Okay.
measure it. You write down every single lead that you get, every phone call, every referral you get, people that say, you know, I should talk to you about such and such, write it down. That's a lead, that's a lead. And then work out how many you convert. Now, we did this for weeks, and I couldn't get it above 23%, even though I thought it was 80 plus.
Wow.
And the coach that at the time said, well, that's bloody great news. I said, no, it's terrible. He said, no, it's fantastic. He said, if it's 80%, we don't have anywhere to go. He said, but at 23%, we can double, triple, or quadruple your conversion rate.
Of course, nowhere to go.
Yeah. It's a great point.
That's a good point.
So, and I challenge people to work out what's your conversion rate. What is it? And sometimes people, you know, the most common thing, if someone says, I've come, I want to buy something, is they'll try and sell it to them. If they don't buy it, if they're not sales qualified, but marketing qualified, then they forget about them. And that's like 80% of the market.
Can I ask you a question on that? Because that would be like a concept a lot of people aren't comfortable with, the difference between sales and the marketing. Do you want to explain that?
So let's say you sold air conditioners,
Yeah.
right? And you put out some flyers and people responded to it. So how they respond to it is they might go to your web page.
Sure.
So you say, we got, you know, if you get your air conditioner fitted by us, we'll give you a bag of M&Ms. Oh, that sounds good. So they go to the website and it says, register here for your M&Ms. So you put your name, your email address, and your phone number. And that means now that air conditioning company's got a lead.
Yes.
And they're marketing qualified. So then that means you can market your goods to them. Sales qualified is the next step. When they've registered, it says, click here on my calendar to book a call.
Right.
Right? That's where 80% don't click because they're not ready to buy just yet. They go, whoa, hang on a minute, I just wanted to get the M&Ms or whatever.
Yep.
So they don't get the M&Ms until they buy. So the 80% of them don't do that. The ones that do fill it out, get on a call, get a quote, get their air conditioner fitted. So the 80% get forgotten about. But they're marketing qualified. That means they've qualified themselves to be marketed to. So keeping that list, having a CRM in place, a client relationship management system, not an Excel spreadsheet, not something you can make yourself, not a diary, but an actual thing that can follow up on autopilot and keep people in the loop. You know, there's a story. Have you heard of Joe Gerard?
No, I can't say I have.
So he's in the Guinness Book of Records for selling the most cars of anyone.
I know who he is. There we go. I didn't know his name. Yes.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Joe Gerard.
George Gerard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe.
American?
American.
Yeah. Famous story, this one.
Yeah, how he got business was he used to go and stand at the traffic lights outside the car yard, and when people come past, he would hand them his card, not just to anybody. He had worked out that every 3 years people think about buying a new car. So if you're in real estate, people every 7 years think about selling the house. If you're in, name it, you know, whatever it is, there's a point at which people
It's a
think
turnover point.
computers, iPhones, whatever it is.
Yep.
So basically, people think about replacing their car after 3 years. They don't necessarily do it. Like we always buy a car thinking we'll replace it after 3 years. We've got a 6-year-old car and a 12-year-old car.
There you go.
Still not thinking about doing it. But so he would look and he'd go, yep, that's 3 years old or older, and he'd hand these cards to people. So anyway, people would come in, he'd sell them a car. After they bought a car, for the next 3 years, every month he sent them a card, a postcard, a birthday card, Happy Christmas. Not a card saying, come and get a discount, or we're doing a special. Here's my granny's haggis recipe, here's this, you know, all the different things. So that people, by the time 3 years is up, they've had more cards in a social way than anyone in your family would have sent.
That's right.
So they're thinking of buying a car. Who are they thinking? This guy.
They've built a relationship.
Yeah.
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 So so having some way of keeping in touch with people so that they're marketing qualified and keeping them nurturing that so that that market grows.
Nailed that word though, nurturing. And that's the thing. So often in sales and marketing, people talk about the close and all of that kind of carry on, or in the marketing side of things, the branding versus the call to action, right? Okay, you need to do both. You absolutely need to do
100%.
both. Yeah, and very much with him, he's built that relationship, and that's his branding. Yeah, and then the call to action almost doesn't have to happen because the customer's coming to him because he's done so well in that department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Peter Drucker, who's the godfather of business, of marketing, that kind of stuff, and he said that marketing's job is to make selling superfluous. So if your marketing is good and you build a relationship, people know what you do and where you are, they'll buy it from you.
They're all ready to buy.
Yeah, they don't come and you have to sell to them. So if you're out there and you're thinking, selling's hard work, after a sales call, you've got a sore throat because you tried to convince people. That's where con man comes from, trying to convince people to buy stuff. So if you've tried to convince people, I made it up.
Oh, okay. Well, geez, you're convincing.
Just got to say it with a straight face. So no, it's true. That's where it comes from. So anyway, so if your marketing is good, then when people come, they're ready to buy. You don't have to convince them, and you get different personality types. The outgoing people that just want it now, and the people that are reserved and want everything in detail.
Yep.
If you can tell what kind of person it is, if it's an outgoing person that just wants it now and it's a sales situation, you can say, so do you need the pitch or are you ready to buy? And they buy.
Yeah.
And you can say that to nearly everyone because if your marketing's good, that's what they're there for.
You've qualified the sale, haven't you?
Yeah. I think from my experience over the years, one of the challenges for your industry, and happy for you to correct me on this, but is that like a lot of industries, they're unregulated, and anyone can have a crack at being a business coach. And so I've found that someone's put themselves up as a business coach, and I've got them in for a chat. And generally, you sort of drill down on actually what they're going to do for you. And like the first bloke that came in to see me from a business association that I'm tied up with, it's only $2,000 a month, it's not much. I said, okay, what do you do for it? And I got him in for a day. Well, it was half a day because just couldn't handle it longer than half a day. and I said, well, okay, so what do you do in the cash flow modelling side of things? He said, oh, we don't do that. I said, what do you mean? You don't run spreadsheets and do profit loss and look at the numbers. You said numbers right off the bat. Right? Oh no! It's just no. We're a high level. And I said, I think this is high level bullshit. Because
good on you.
Yeah.
Because you just said it's a couple of grand a month. I get like 24,000 a year, and I'm sure things I don't do very well that you could help me with, but I would have thought that at least running numbers, like all of our cash flow modelling for our private financial planning clients, it was all about what are your goals and what's your cash flow. Because if you don't have surplus savings after you've been paid your money and you've got your cash, you've paid your money and you've paid your bills, what have you got left of savings? You've got nothing to invest.
Exactly.
You can't put extra money into super, like just basic stuff. And I think that's what you were alluding to before, right?
Yeah.
You actually drill down on the numbers because unless you've got a handle on the numbers, and I don't think a lot of business coaches do that.
No, and if you don't do it, if you don't know the numbers, you don't know the score. If you don't know the score, you can't tell the winners from the losers.
Yeah.
So, example of two clients. One of them turns over about $500,000 a year, takes home about 350 of that. Another one turns over almost $5 million a year, has just taken a pay cut to $80,000 because the business is losing between $100,000 and $200,000 a year.
Okay. So
or a month. If it's 5 million turnover.
In the end, it ends up it's about 150 to 250 a year.
Yeah,
that's there.
God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Structures. Is this the main issue here?
No, it's
I mean the structures, not of the business. Sorry, I've explained that badly. Not of the business itself, but of the planning and the actual the strategy of your marketing and your sales and that kind of thing.
So it comes back to the three buckets, right? Bucket number one, get more money. What's your business model? What do you sell? How much do you make? Is it profitable? Like a new client that started about a month ago, he had this great idea and he's going to do programs and group things and stuff for $300 a head. And so far he's seen 3 people, which is not a lot of money in the door.
No, it's not.
But I said, well, isn't your product more suited to, like this market or this market? Let's look at some markets. So we looked at them and he picked what he thought it was best suited for. And for him to deliver it to them is, instead of $300, it's $12,000.
Right.
And I said, so what do you want to do? Let's divide 12,000 by 300. That's how many people you got to see, or 1/12,000. And it was a no-brainer. So we designed his business model around what would make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's, like, remember I said the windsurfing industry, people thought it was great because you buy stuff. This is my mistake I made in business. Buy stuff and mark it up by 40%. So if it's $100, it's 140 to buy. End of the season, got to get rid of it. So, well, I added 40%, so I'll take 40% off. That's not knowing numbers. 40% off of 140 means that I don't know exactly, but let's say $92.
Yeah.
So I paid 100 and I sold it for 92.
It's good business. Not.
Getting to the end of the year and going, hang on a minute, we were killing it in the middle of summer, and now we've got nothing. Where's all the money going?
Yeah.
Accountant couldn't tell me.
Because ultimately, like you've got to actually put. I think, and please don't hold me to these figures, but from when I was in different industries, yeah, give it a go. But you effectively had to double the wholesale price. By the time all the singing and dancing was done, to get about a 33% GP, that's what you had to do, right, to get that profit. Because all the other expenses. So you're absolutely right. If you just think a small markup, when you do have to liquidate that stock, you're actually losing money.
Yeah. So again, it's numbers. The 5 things you got to do: generate more leads.
Yep.
Convert more of them. But you don't know until you measure it. You can't just say, well, let's do this to convert more. How many you convert? Test a strategy out. If it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, test another strategy out. I've got a chart with like over 400 strategies on it for different areas. I can give you a copy. You can let people have. But it gives you, then you can find out which ones will work for you. So you've got get leads, convert them. How much do they spend on average? So average dollar sale, like a printer, you go in and get business cards printed. What do you do for business? Oh, I've got a radio station. Oh, a radio station. Can we go through our radio station checklist with you? What's that? Have you got a big sign? Have you got this on your car? Have you got stickers you can give out to people? Have you? And so instead of spending, $200 buying a box of business cards, you spend $1,000 buying a whole load of stuff.
Well, it's the ultimate. Would you like fries with that? Isn't
100%.
it? Right? That's exactly what it is. Yeah,
yeah.
It's the upselling all the way. And when you're a business owner and you're very close to your business, sometimes you don't see these things, right? And you don't think. I mean, like you've just brought out that point. Guess what? Signage is a weakness here. I know that, and it's one of those things I need to get at. But I've got other things to do. I've got to get back to this. Got to get back to that. But when it's brought forward to you, guess what? If I'm standing there with the printer and they say, well, I can make this happen for you, I'm going to sign. I'm going to make that happen. Yeah.
Well, no, you're not. You're going to try and get away with not doing it because you're going to think about it and you'll get to it later and it will never happen. So as the printer, you've got to insist on it. So that's average dollar sale. Then the next, so leads, conversion, average dollar sale. 4th one is the number of times they buy from you.
Okay.
How often do people come back?
Oh, repeat, yeah.
Yeah, repeat business. So that's the Joe Gerard thing, keep sending the cards out every month.
Yes.
Invite them to special things. That was one of the things we did in our windsurf business was we had a closed door sale, only clients invited, only people who'd spent over a certain amount.
Yep.
We had a security guard at the door. People would come up to the door and go, what's going on in here? Special sale, VIP clients only.
Yep.
Have you got a card? No. Did you get an invite? No. His job was to look around. Off you go in, you get, and let them in anyway.
Everyone wants to feel like a VIP, right?
Yeah. So because they thought they were special and they were VIPs, they come in and we turned over more in one day than we turned over in a month generally. Doing something like that. So having a VIP sale is a good thing. So keeping people in the loop so you can do that increases number of transactions. that's number 4.
That's 4.
And number 5 is profit margin.
Yeah, okay.
So everyone worries about how much they charge. But here's a top tip, if you put your price up by 10% right now, no one would notice. Now I can hear a load of people like, oh no, but I once did a presentation for the Conveyancer Society.
So where?
Conveyances.
Settlement agents.
Oh,
Settlement
right.
agents.
Yep.
And they at the time had, it was $800 was the amount, that was government mandate, that's how much you charge people. And I was doing this 5 ways thing with them, and I said, put your price up by 10%. We can't put our price up by 10%, you know, we've got a price. I said, yes, I know, but they've already given me all the figures you guys put out there, and it turns out none of you charge $800, that you all discount, and you charge somewhere between $500 and $600.
Right.
So I'm saying put your price up by 10%. If you charge $500, make it $550. Oh, well, okay. So, but if you put your price up by 10%, that's 10% increase in your business. So think about that. If you've got $1 million business and you put your price up by 10%, that's an extra $100. Where does that go in the business? Where does it go?
Well, 100,000 in this particular case.
100,000, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully to my holiday. That'd be nice.
Into ask Jeff, and he'll tell you where it goes.
Distributable profits would be a good idea.
Yes, to Jeff, who then will make it into a larger amount for me and make the holiday even better.
100%. So that's the 5 of them. But the key to it is not just knowing those 5; it's knowing which order to do them in.
Okay.
So the order you do it in is first one you do is profit margin, because it doesn't cost anything to do straight away. Second one you do, conversion rate. Third is average dollar sale. None of those cost any money to do. And then you do number of transactions as fourth, and last is leads, marketing. And what I hear from most business owners, I want to do some more marketing. Let's do these 4 things first.
Right.
Now, if you did 10% in each of those areas, your revenue would increase by 47%.
I've seen this. It's very powerful.
And your profit would increase by 63%. So you think about that. What would 47% on your revenue look like?
Oh, look, just revolutionise the business. It really would, right? I mean, it's night and day.
Life changing.
Yeah.
So that's what I make people focus on. There's a million other things we can do in coaching, get into people's heads, all that kind of stuff. I just want to get into where's the money, and let's get more in the door and look after your clients better.
Yeah. You said something earlier about the founder of the business coaching model that you use there, a guy called Brad Sugars.
Yep.
And as you know, everyone knows, we've had a financial planning company for about 25 years, and we invited Brad Sugars to be a guest speaker at one of our conferences in the Gold Coast.
Right.
And it was after he'd made a name for himself, but probably only been at it for about 10 years. So it was very early in his career.
Right.
And he's a godlike figure in sort of Ian's world now, because he was a young accountant. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because it's a long time ago. But young accountant, and he was a multimillionaire long before he was 30.
Right.
But what he did, he worked out how to look at the books, which is what Ian does.
Yeah.
Look at the books of a business that was either for sale or they knew it was struggling. And he'd work out all the things that was low-hanging fruit, but he wasn't in as a coach. He was in as a predator. Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
And he'd bowl in there and he'd go, righto, well, geez, you're going broke. Yeah, I know, it's tough. We want to get out. And I said, okay. And they probably they were for sale. And he could look at all the mistakes that they were making, and they'd go, well, yeah, well, you know, I might be interested in buying, you know, I might give it a bit of a go. Oh, you reckon? We're going broke. Oh, look, you know, I've always liked this industry. Make us some bullshit story. And often he would buy these businesses just for the cost of the lease.
Right.
Because they were prepared to walk away. And he'd get in there and he'd get these bloody businesses for nothing and pull all the levers, and he'd have a few people he'd put in there. And all of a sudden, like he'd run it for 2 years, he'd have the cost base here, nothing, like broke.
Yeah.
And up here, and he'd flog it for a massive profit. And he did that time and time and time again for about a decade. And I think Yeah, like he started in his early 20s, this bloke.
And
Really
right.
clever. Does that sound about right? Yeah, yeah.
I was just going to say, a lot of people, with so many things, have I missed my opportunity? Like, well, right now, in my eyes anyway, there's a real opportunity because there's a lot of businesses, a lot of boomers, okay, a lot of people, baby boomers who have got businesses that they want to move on. The kids are not interested, all of that, and yeah, there have been these established businesses that the goodwill has been, which you don't buy anymore, but it exists there. They're good businesses, but they're going to disappear, so they can be picked up very, very cheaply. And when you put good management in it and good people and people who know the tricks is the wrong word. I mean, these systems, these rules, these things that work, if you put them into play, these businesses, you can exactly what you've just said, mate. You build them up, right? Okay, and then you can sell them on. And there's so many positives out of it.
With all the numbers in the profit loss in the balance sheet to actually prove the last 3 years this is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
And they're buying. People are buying a franchise, or they're buying an established business with good income. They can pull their couple of $100,000 a year out in salary, put their wife on $80,000 a year, and they work well.
It's a great time.
It is.
So
if you do it right.
If you do it right.
And
I think, and Ian might have another comment on this. I was talking to a chap the other day at a lunch, and I agree with what he was saying. He was basically saying the SME market, the small business enterprise market globally, is actually under pressure at the moment because a bunch of reasons. One, lack of the skill sets and support that people would need to pull those 5 levers that you've just been talking about. But another one is this major push towards a very, very clever push towards the compliance, the government, the bureaucratic world, because none of the bloody ABC, bloody employees lost a job during COVID.
That's right.
Right. We had to shut our businesses down.
Yep.
Right. And so that's also another pressure in the global small business community where, those that are being funded by the taxes that we pay, the freeloaders, are actually all shoring up their positions with their preferential superannuation programs, and they never can get sacked and rah, rah, rah. And I think that...
government.
Well, the fees...
It's a safe place to say
they're good, aren't they? Every day.
It's true,
there's a new charge.
I was meaning like what the Romans ever done for us.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm going to bring this point forward. Okay, all those years ago when quality assurance came in, okay, so governments would only give contracts to companies with quality assurance. So you'd have to jump through all the hoops to make sure that you were able to actually tender. You weren't even able to tender for particular contracts for that reason, right? Now, to me, I mean, that just made a lot of extra compliance, a lot of extra expense, and you're right. I mean, it just damaged a lot of businesses. Yeah. And it was a way of making businesses, free enterprise businesses, more dependent on government.
Yeah. And I think if that's a generally accepted fact, and I think it is, because they're just loading on more charges and fees to justify their roles, and they still get all that sort of stuff, putting more pressure on our industry, because there's 3 small businesses in this room as we speak. So that basically refocuses all of our attention on all the 5 things that Ian's talking about.
Yeah.
Because we've got to even probably work harder, maybe not so much harder, we'll work hard, but smarter, to get that, allow us to have the independence of being self-employed. But of course, put ourselves on decent salaries, like you said, pull your 250, pull your 300 grand salary out each year, because then you've got money to put into super and to get your next investment property and whatever.
Something you said earlier, and you've had some really good points, simple as that, and about the fact of, okay, and I whinge and complain, right, about the fact that I'm always working, hours, so I'm here a hell of a lot and working the business full stop a lot. Now, the reality is, if we upped our earnings, I could actually employ people to be taking some of that load off. So, there's just a fundamental basic of business, make more money. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. You know, it buys a bit of freedom. It buys a bit of time away and, a bit of lifestyle. So it's, often becomes a case of, oh, well, I can do it best, so therefore I'll do it.
Yeah.
But no, look, maybe just stop micromanaging and
There's
move
that
on.
Superman syndrome where you think you have to do it because you're the one that does it best. So what you've got is a glorified job.
Yeah.
Only thing is your boss is the worst boss you could have because he makes you work long hours and you don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
So he says tyrant.
So we need to have a chat to him and fix that. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of business owners in small businesses run them along the lines of, well, I can take cash, I can pay for this out, and they pull money out left,
I'm
right,
glad you
and
brought that
centre.
up. Yep.
And because it minimises their tax position. But you know what? What if you did make a lot of money and you paid tax on it? And you pay a little bit of tax. Talk to the right people. Mm-hmm. Analogy I heard for this is you go to cross the river, cross the bridge, and the tax man takes X amount of dollars from you. Don't cross that bridge. Go down the road. There's another bridge with another guy there that can show you how you can pay a fair amount of tax, but less, and utilise your money better. And there's another one up the river you can cross, but if you get caught, you're done. So you don't want to go across that one. So it's about doing research.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if business owners stop thinking small, I can pull out money, I can buy, a carton of beer every night, or we can go on a camping holiday and whatever the money gets spent on. If you focused on building a business, so the thing about it is you build a business to sell it.
Okay.
Build a business that works without you. Now that doesn't mean 100% without you. Make the business work so you don't have to is the thing. And if the business works, and let's say you employed someone. I had this windsurf business. I was the guru. I came here. Everybody knew me. I was like, I was in the store. Everyone came to see me. I was the rock star. Then I employed the guy who's the state wave sailing champion and another guy who's a kite surfing champion and so on. Now, I walk into my store and there's one of my best friends in there. Hey, Rob, how you doing? Great. What can I help you with? Oh, nothing. I went and talked to Justin. I said, what are you looking for? He said, I'm going to buy a new wave board. I said, oh, and I'm sort of trying to take him over to the wave board. So he said, no, I'll wait on Justin. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm thinking, what? And I remember going in and sitting at my desk and almost crying, and I was sitting there for about 5 minutes, and then I thought, they don't need me. They don't need me. They don't need me.
I can go windsurfing, right?
Yeah.
But like building your own redundancy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just and it is a hard thing because it's ego. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's a big part of that.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to throw a thank you to Lisa who put a question up ages ago. Thank you so much for your patience. Now, asking Ian, what do you like most about what you actually do?
Oh, that's a great question. So let me go back to the bloody windsurfing business
Let's
again.
do that.
What I loved about that is people who turn up all nervous, never having done it before, and within an hour they can stand on a windsurfboard and sail, and the look on their face and the excitement inside them was fantastic. I loved that. What I love about this business is people are filled with fear and doubt and stuff like that, but when they actually learn how to make more money and are super clear where it's going to go to and they have a plan, the fear goes and the excitement happens.
Okay.
So what I love about it is seeing the fear change to excitement.
Brilliant.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
that.
Yeah.
It's true though.
Yeah, no, that's right. Now, I think the other thing, Ian, that we should let our viewers know is, are you a software engineer or a mechanical engineer or something in your previous life before you got stuck into this world?
So when I left school, I used to deliver boats and I got into windsurfing and I came out here because it was in the Olympics. I was in an Olympic squad and I came out here to train with great ideas of doing that. But when I came out here, I learned very quickly there's a few guys who were way better than I was.
Okay.
And so I had a choice. I could either go down the professional windsurfing road and try and win money, or I could go down the other professional windsurfing road, which was being an instructor.
Okay.
Right.
So I chose that one and got into my community service business. That was never making enough money, so I went to I went to TAFE and did computer science. Then I went to Murdoch Uni and did a double degree in computer science and business, like management and
Righto.
marketing.
There we go.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not uncommon for people to have those advanced academic qualifications to have a complete switch.
So true.
But it does mean you've got a bloody good grounding on the numbers, and that's where it's at.
No wonder you're obsessed with the numbers, mate. But that's the thing. Okay, end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
Okay, a business is there to make money. I'm very. I mean, I've got a preoccupation with serving the community. That what we do is serving the community. But if we don't make money, guess what? The lights don't stay on. We close the doors, and we can't serve the community. So I'd like to make money. Right, the two beasts need to work together, kind of thing. Of
course.
And never apologise for making a living. It's an important thing.
Yeah, it's right out there.
Yeah, your dentist doesn't say halfway through the drilling, oh, by the way, $1,200 for this 20-minute session today. Does he? I'm very sorry, but I'm going to have to charge you $1,200. No, he doesn't apologise, because you need it done and he needs to do it and somebody's got to pay.
Yeah.
And if the lights don't stay on, imagine his drill ran out of power because he didn't put a shilling in the meter halfway through drilling a hole in your tooth. You wouldn't be happy about that, would you?
Half a hole.
The same for
None
you.
filled.
He'd still be running, put it that way. Brilliant, mate. I love the fact that you got it was a 5-point plan, wasn't it?
5 ways.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's great. So maybe we can grab that plan from you, whack it on the comments as well. That'd be really, really brilliant.
Yep.
Because I think that there's just so much value in that. There really is. I think like anything, a boat without a rudder. Okay, this is the situation here. Right now we're talking about a business can be. You might be the absolute best in the windsurfing business. You might be the best in whatever trade happens to be. But if you've got no rudder, so to speak, if you haven't got the right guidance, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And it's about having a goal and knowing where to get to. So 100% it's being able to steer it, knowing where you're going, knowing how to make it work. And I heard a thing about insurance the other day. It was some guy who was one of the best insurance salesmen in the world, and he'd talk to people and say, if you had a money-making machine in your house, would you insure it so that it kept? What would you do?
Definitely insure it. Might break down.
Yeah.
I'd insure it. Yeah.
So obviously you don't have a money-making machine, but you are the money-maker.
You are the money making machine.
Look at you go.
What's your insurance?
Yeah.
And so maybe somebody can come up with it, but I'm trying to think of what's the analogy. Like if you've got a business, you're the money-making machine in the business, but if you don't know what the hell you're doing, even though the Australian way is to say, she'll be right.
Yeah.
You know where that came from?
No, where?
Back from the gold rush days where people would lose all their money on one roll of the dice.
Right.
They go, she'll be right, go and get more.
Go and get some more gold.
Yeah, just go and get some more.
Dig some more.
Just over
If
there.
you've got the right skills, you can go get more gold. Let's face it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic, mate. Now, people want to get, let's be frank, okay, after today, everyone's going to want to have a word with you. So where do we catch up with you there, Ian?
Well, you're going to put my link on here.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, but there's people listening, so they'll be taking notes.
Okay.
So where they find you?
Go to ianlane.com.au. That's my website. If you go there, you'll find me.
Easy
and
as that.
You can contact me through that.
Or through Edge Radio, or through Wealth by Design.
That's right.
Come to us and we'll steer you towards Ian Lane, business coach extraordinaire.
I'll make it even easier. Like right now, you're probably watching on that or listening on edgeradioaustralia.com. Your face is coming up any minute, mate. It's coming up on the screen. Someone click on that and it goes through. There we
How
go.
good's that?
Links everybody together. So
Links.
We don't have to worry about the old
Tech.
pen and paper. Tech.
Tech's good.
Mind you,
Yeah.
I'm still Mr. Pen and Paper, so there you go.
But
Thank you very
that's
much.
tech. That's great tech.
It is really good. Yeah. It just links us together, let's face it. So it's a great thing.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Beauty. Well, Ian, thank you so much for coming and making the effort to come out of your busy schedule to, have a chat with the lads on the couch.
Thanks for inviting me. It's good
And
fun,
thank you,
fun
Aaron.
little
Oh,
spot.
mate. Thanks for being part of Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio Australia.